It took me a while to start painting today because I really thought I wanted to get into oils. So right now I'm using acrylic, but I just realized that I'm pretty attached to this piece already. I'm happy with the idea, and I just think it needs another round of shaping before we get into oils. But that took me a long time to make that decision, surprisingly. I really like this helmet. Of course, it's like Transformers based, but it's also, I want it to be like kind of one of those like festival or like, um, not festival, the words escape me. Tribal or um, some sort of native headdress kind of thing, as well as being inspired by Transformers. Just seeing about this lighting. So, sorry, I'm just trying to get this lighting right. I need my glasses to read you. Hang on. I actually have two tiers of glasses. I have glasses that I can see kind of text, and then I have glasses that I can see more clearly, almost magnified. So I want the painting in here, but I don't like the painting taking away from again, the headdress, like this Optimus Prime inspired kind of like carnival headdress. Somewhere in between like a native inspired to like carnival, Caribbean, right? It has that vibe, so I want to keep it. And then I was looking at a Venus de Milo, and then I realized, oh, it's not called Venus de Milo. Venus de Milo is something else. It's like a statue of a lady, but this is called the Venus de Willendorf or something like that. That old statue that's a chubby lady. But remember in The Simpsons when Homer grabs the babysitter and then he's trying to reach for the candy, and that was the Venus de Milo candy. So there's some sort of like thought overlap happening. I need to put this painting in before I put the oil. So again, this is acrylic, and this is how I do my underbodies. I actually don't think it's good or bad. For me, it's really good. But if like someone was asking me like, oh, what should I do acrylic underbodies too? I don't know. Like oil's fine, just depends your pace. So I'll be able to put oil on top of this today because it'll be dry. But I didn't want to start my oils, like the oil paints, with this painting I'm painting over right now, in the way. Oh, you're watching Neuralens. Yeah, wicked. What are you working on? So let me grab the shape. The shape will change. Like you can change stuff even when you paint your oils, but I just don't want to do anything major. I don't want any major um, like reconstruction. We can add makeup and we can add accessories, but the underbody should really hold the true form, the major, like the kind of think of it like the bones. So when you do an underbody, it's like putting the bones in place, and you need the bones in before you do the muscle and the skin and everything else. Even like these legs here, it's for a video. What do you mean? I didn't expect to ask me about. It's for a video, like you're painting a sketch, just like a sketch. Oh, I see. It's for a video. Yeah. Well, I'd love to see it. The only way to really do that is on Instagram. If send me a DM, love to see what you're working on. That'd be cool. I'll check it out later. But so now that I really love this headdress. I think it's strong. I think it's actually given me more ideas. Like, oh, imagine like an Optimus Prime kind of festival version, or I'm still not finding Caribbean native dress, like, or even like old Egyptian, but like an Optimus Prime version. That's kind of what I'm aiming for here. Now, I will completely cover this painting because that was why I even started to work today, because I want to get this all laid out. I really had a lot of fun painting The Simpsons over the last week, the Simpsons background. And so much fun that I'm like, I want to do it again. Sorry, I'm a little scattered today. My brain is... Sometimes it's like just... I was thinking about this too much, and then it was like, okay, I came to a point where I just start painting, man. And I kind of made a commitment to myself in the last little bit, even told my mom about it, like, dude, you got to start going live, and just trying to figure out my YouTube channel. And I think it's important for me to talk about my art as I'm doing it. As I get older, I think younger, I was just figuring things out. But as I get older, like, I'm old in the kind of the social media world game. Older anyway. And because I've been painting so long, I've kind of really come to understand my own personal process with it. And I think some things, I don't think I'll be able to teach how to paint like a master, but I do think I'll be able to help inspire you with like ideas. I have a video of me painting this figure yesterday, and you'll see that I just go kind of nuts. And then I find something in there. I didn't go, oh, I'm going to paint a heavy lady wearing a Transformer helmet holding a skull. That's not how it happened. I saw the things in it, and then I started like to hone in on them. So let me get... I think you guys tell me, where should the painting go? I want the painting to, because I really want to exaggerate the Simpsons background. Where should the painting go? The painting of the sailboat. Where should it go? Somewhere near the arm? Like here? Here? Neuralins? NL? Here? I'm growing Marge Simpson realness right now. It's giving Marge Simpson realness. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay. Neuralins, I'm sure I'm saying your name wrong, but yeah, I appreciate it. Let's do that. Your wish is my command. Let's go there. Because the blue, you see, I didn't want to overlap the blue of the Optimus Prime helmet. Caribbean festival gear. But I appreciate the suggestion, neural lens. I'm going with it. But we're going to cut it off. You see how sloppy and unserious, in a sense, I am with these acrylics? It's just getting the bones in. It's like, and then you can restructure the bones now. Now is the time to like go, okay, it's too low, it's too high, but there's no real commitment, and so you get this freedom of like, it's like drawing and erasing for other people. They draw out shit first, right, with a pencil, and then they erase it, and then draw it in again, and then erase it. It's the same idea, but just with acrylic paint. That's even kind of why I wanted to go live today, is because you can see how messy and not unserious, it's the wrong way to say it, but it's kind of true. Like, I'm not serious right now. I'm not like, oh, this has to be perfect. No, just get in like, okay, is the picture there or not? Okay, I like it. Neural lens was right there is fine. It's even under the couch a bit, that's fine. Because you get the idea. Like, sometimes it's like, I told you, you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be right or correct. It just has to look good. So in theory, the painting's like right directly behind. I don't want to do that. It's kind of it's a different mindset. This is more surreal, obviously. So use that to your advantage. If it's surreal, it's surreal. And obviously I want it to be surreal because like I'm playing off of the idea of the Simpsons being like, The Simpsons is deep in my psyche, and for most of us, we grew up on The Simpsons. And so whether we like it or not, it's in there. There's nothing I can do about that. Like, The Simpsons, regardless, play such a role, and that's why I do this. It's like, it's this, one, it's recognizable. So you see, oh, that's The Simpsons living room. So you recognize something right away. And then as I age, my memories get distorted and confused. And things become like jumbled and messy. Like, I thought, like, for example, this is a more subtle one, but like, remember when he's picking the candy off the babysitter? I thought it was the chubby statue. I didn't know the Venus de Milo was something else. So it's just like little things like that. But I would have bet, like, $50 that it was this chubby one that was on the babysitter. No, like, if you look up the Venus de Milo, it's like a different woman figure. It's not this heavier one. I'm also not sure if this should go into like a male or female like face. I'm not sure. The carpet also is grounding. I'm not sure. Yes, I'm figuring everything out. Forgive me, I feel scattered today. So you're just hearing kind of like a madman chirping with no real like, I'm not grounded. But you can paint anyway. You can paint when you're feeling confused. You can paint when you feel sad. You can paint when you feel happy. Kind of one of the downsides is like if I have to talk, you're just hearing a bit of like a squirrely. But I do stand behind this process of getting your bones in, your underbody in with acrylics. So that's why I pressed go live, is to share this kind of process, because I find it to be the most, not just the quickest, but the best way for me to draw out something. So I'm just going to say it again one more time for my own benefit. People, typically artists that you like or in your own experience, will draw this out in pencil or graphite or whatever. I'm drawing it out in acrylic paint. And it's the same principle. When you draw something out, you go back and forth. And how you go back and forth is you draw it, and then you're like, okay, that's not right. So you erase it and draw it again. I'm doing that, but with acrylic paint. And then that becomes my underbody and the bare bones and the foundation. of the actual painting when I switch over to oil. And I make a lot of progress really quickly. And I really like it because I feel like, wow, I can actually paint. Because if you spend the time now, like mapping everything out, it really helps your painting in the next phase. So hopefully you get some. I know I said that before, but I just wanted to say it again a little clearer. See, like I can't draw feet, but if you keep going back and forth, you start to see something. You're like, oh, that looks like a foot, and so you just start like playing from there. If you say, hey, draw a foot from the beginning, no thanks. You need to like go back and forth, just like you would with like a pencil and an eraser. Even like as simple as like a couch. Well, draw a couch. Yeah, you can draw a couch and it looks like confused and messy, but then when you go back and forth and back and forth. Marge, Venus energy, yes. Effigy, yes. Good. I hope that comes across. Thug bugs. Thug bugs. I think you'll make so much I'm a terrible drawer. I'm a terrible painter, but you can get better. And then you're like, okay, I'm a decent painter. I'm a decent drawer. But when you don't have any like sort of like, you just keep doing it literally in the moment. Like I told you, get someone to draw a foot. No, it's a stage. It's a process. Look, like, okay, that foot's not right. We'll just keep going. Now go the other way with the other color, right? And I don't have it yet, but for conversation's sake, I'll just use the background color. Get that foot in. Let's try it again. Does that foot look more like coherent, cohesive, even real? Well, it's better than it was, so now you're already ahead. You automatically go from like a terrible painter to a decent painter to a good painter. But all it takes is back and forth. Add, subtract. Paint, erase. Or draw, erase. I want her to be wearing, him or her to be wearing underwear. This is just an underbody, right? So it's not gonna, like, there might be some tints of purple in the finished piece, but who knows? I'm just using the same color as the background. Why? Because you're just sculpting, like, none of this matters yet. So when you have that that mindset, I think it really helps you draw and paint a lot better. Like, who cares right now? That's not the arm. Okay, well, we'll fix it up. And doing it in acrylic is so easy. Easier for me. Some people do it really well, in all honesty. They do their underbodies in oil, which is more standard. They use a really light application and they thin it down and then they draw with that raw umber. You'll see like they draw out their paintings in the brown and then they build off of it. I've done it. I used to do. I'll probably even do it again. It's not that I'll never do that. It's just not my go-to process. Because I'm also don't have an image that I set out from. I'm finding my stuff when I'm painting, so there's a bit of a different strategy. I don't know what I'm going to end up with when I start a painting. Typically, not always. Don't hold, like sometimes I know exactly what I'm doing. Sometimes I know exactly how it needs to look. But in this case, no, I had no idea. I knew the Simpsons background. That was it. I was like, okay, just paint the Simpsons and see what comes from there. I feel like I'm talking too fast, like I'm not on my medication. Slow down. Relax. Deep breath, old man. Okay, now Really excited about this helmet because I want to. I need you guys to help me describe. I keep saying festival, native, Caribbean, like kind of like the. I want it to be over the top, and but I want it to be in like it's an Optimus Prime mashup with some sort of Caribbean headdress. Headdress. Yeah, it's like a headdress. I think that's the most accurate way to say it. But it's like a cultural headdress. Bye, thug bugs. Okay, let me see here. I will at some point. Yeah, I think this will be a skull like a Macbeth, Shakespeare. But I think kind of orange. So I did have a vision of this being orange. If the painting's too big, I'll fix it. But this, I want like an orange skull. I think might change. I want the shadow subtle. We'll do here. Again, get those bones in now. Some things I don't want to paint in oil. They're harder to land sometimes. So if you have a good guideline and like game plan with the acrylic, it's way easier. It's metal tiki, yeah. Yeah, metal tiki. That's great. I think the painting's a little low and a little large, and it is intercepting with the helmet, which I didn't really want. Maybe it's like that, and maybe we'll bring it up. See, now is the time to do this stuff, not later. I'd rather it be too small, I think, than too large. So again, all this can be done in oil. It's just if it's a different kind of feeling, it's a different process. So don't let me, if you like using oils and even to build up your background, your underbody, do that. But I'm just telling you what I do, especially when have no idea what I'm doing or where this is gonna end up. I do now. I know where we're going now, but that's because I started painting yesterday. Yeah, that's better. It's a little less aggressive. The painting is not the painting is just to give you the atmosphere and to remind you where this is taking place, to give you some sort of reference. Jabo Monk? No, tell me more. Stonecutter's hat, right? Stonecutter's Gundam helmet. Yeah, totally Gundam helmet. That's way better. For real, that's way better. Okay, good. Now, it takes a little bit to dry, but I will have to start looking at references of even Gundam helmet would be a good reference, but let's see here. I also need like, you have to be careful, especially if you're planning on using social media, like having gigantic breasts will probably typically work against you when doing social media. So do you need to self-censor? Kinda. I have a lot of paintings where I don't, and they'll get flagged, or they can cause me problems. So it's like a mix. Like sometimes you're like, no, this needs big, gigantic breasts. Well, then you do it. In this case, if I can weasel my way around it somehow, I'll try to. Again, if you're painting one painting a year and they need gigantic breasts, well, then you leave them in. And so be it. It is what it is. Because I paint every day and I can paint breasts anytime I want, sometimes I do self-censor because I just want more people to see my art. If I'm going to get flagged and punished, and your video, like today I had a video that got violated community guidelines, I had to delete it. So you kind of got to play within the rules, and then you try to break them from the inside out. I enjoy that. I mean, I guess I got used to it. At first you'd think, oh, that's terrible, it's just art. I don't have any more fight in me for that. It is what it is. They don't let you paint gigantic female genitalia anymore. Those days are over. And it's kind of funny, sometimes my mom will show people my art, like her friends, and the first thing they see is a gigantic, like, I can't even say the words, I don't think, gigantic female anatomy, which I think is actually kind of funny. Okay. Yeah, the tyranny of artistic expression. Okay, Thug Bugs, good to talk to you. Thanks for popping in. Jabo Monk, excellent painter, similar whimsy. Okay, I'll look into him. Jabo Monk, excellent painter, similar whimsy to yours. Yeah, I always like the art community is really cool, especially as I get older. It seems really, for a while, it's really hard to kind of get kind of connected, admittedly, but if you keep with it, things start changing and you start influencing stuff too. It's fun, but it takes a long time. But if you're just going to paint anyway, then you got time. But it's fun. I've gotten to connect with some really people I really look up to and admire, and their skills are impressive. And then as you keep getting going, and I'm older now, so it's kind of nice being able to just on social media, not like in person. But the art community, I think as I get older, it gets easier. In the beginning, it's pretty hard to breach that online community. Okay, I kind of don't have any clear direction now because I think it is time to let this dry and then start my oils. I was even thinking about like maybe like look at this brush, a robot hand here. Like I want it to be pretty squirrely, well, tight. Like I want it's not going to be abstract. It'll be a figure. So obviously there's this figure here, but like I'm thinking, is this going to be like a robotic arm? Is this going to be a normal arm? I got my skull here. Let's get some orange. Again, because you're in this drawing phase with acrylics, like look, I'm putting in that sailboat just to lock it in, right? It's like, think of it like pencil. Look at that first attempt. That's what I'm saying. And then you just refine it. So look at that first attempt of the boat. Come on. Oh, I'm happy I showed you that because it's exactly what I'm saying. And then you just whittle it down, like almost like sculpting or like carving. Just keep whittling it. I can give you all kinds of different analogies. I think the best one is drawing it with pencil and then erase. Drawing it with pencil, then erase. Drawing it with pencil and then erase. If you think of it like that when you attempt to draw something, you won't be like, well, that's not a sailboat. Of course it's not a sailboat. Of course not. Like, who are you kidding? It takes it if you keep doing this knowing that I will get a sailboat out of this eventually, even if it takes me far too long, that doesn't matter. Mission accomplished. Hey, you got a little sailboat in there. Good job. Clearly you can tell it's a sailboat. Same with this skull. Skulls are pretty easy when you like paint them a number of times. They get easier and easier and easier. You know where everything is. It's not a surprise anymore. So I don't have like a reference in front of me. But you know how long I've sat in front of skull references where everything was still new. Everything felt like it was painting it for the first time. Now I know skulls are like, hey, there's like this little divot here, there's a little thing underneath there, there's some eye sockets, there's some shading here. It's all like, it starts to become, look at that skull. Beautiful. But back to the sailboat. You just gotta paint to paint. If you don't put something down on the canvas or the panel, what are you gonna, like, how are you gonna build off of that? You can't. Let's get some shading in here. Let's get some shading in here. Let's get some shading in that underarm. Let's get some shading underneath the succulent folds of flesh. Let's get some shading in the folds of flesh down here by the groin. Let's get some shading here. And like, to be honest with you, like, I don't even care what brush I'm using right now. Like, I don't care if it's like, look at it, it's bent to, it's like a dollar brush. Doesn't matter. You're just putting in shapes and like, and then I use my chubby little fingers to move this around. Get some shading in there. Yeah, I check out the comments, Link Watson, but I go in and out of my zone. Right there for the last 1 minute, I was going for it. But yeah, I didn't see what you said earlier, though. Hang on, let me see what you said. I draw characters and weird facial expressions and stuff in class, and people laugh at it. Well, I think that's great. One of my favorite things to do is to draw, like, paint satire and ironic imagery, and like this whole painting you're looking at is ironic. Is it laugh out loud funny? Maybe not, but it's comical in its nature. So I personally, that's one of my favorite things to, like, my genres is to mock things or to manipulate things that we're used to. So if you can draw faces that people actually enjoy, like, characters, like some character artists, like I saw a bunch of TikToks where the caricature artist, so meaning the guy who draws like cartoon versions of people, but he draws them so outrageous, and then people actually want to be insulted. The guy who basically insults all your flaws and your features. There's a few of them, but I know for sure there's a few of them that have become kind of well known. Like, that's a whole, the overall painting is fine. Like, his skill level it's not bad by any stretch, but it's not about the skill. It's the fact that he's just going to mock you in an art form. So I think, like, yeah, good for you. Like, if you can make people respond to your art. I think when there's no response at all, it's probably you don't want to be there. Some people are really aiming for the response to hear like that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's so well executed. It's flawless. It looks like a photograph. Like, some people are looking for that response. Some people are looking for that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh my God, that's such a great idea and concept. Well done. It just depends what you're looking for. You find your strong, like you find that in yourself. Like, hey, can I paint like some of these students that are in like a factory that like paint like basically like a machine? Well, that's a tall task. Like some of those people have been painting since they're 5 years old, almost like like fighters from Brazil. Like they've just been fighting since they're 4 years old, and they just have that, they have it now ingrained in them. Some artists are like that. Some artists start young and are at a really high level, just like a musician. Like when you're playing the violin, when you come out of the womb, by the time you're in your mid 30s, you're pretty much a master. So that's not discouraging. That's just to find your place. That's just to find your place. But if you do it long enough, like I now have been painting, we're approaching like 2 decades, a little under, like 18 years, 17 years. I just know my strong suits. You start to learn like where I really excel or where I think I do. Some land for sure and some don't. But back to what you're saying, Link, if you can make people laugh when they look at your art, you're way ahead, man or lady. Like you're way ahead because you're invoking emotion in something that you created with your hands. And then if you can do it again and again and again, well, now you're even on to something. It's like, oh, wow, you really create, like, you're getting a really strong response. Because let's just take my art, for example. I'll paint something, I'm really interested in it, and it gets a very low response. I'll post it again over time, gets a low response. That that is worth something, right? It doesn't mean that it's a good painting or a bad painting. It just means that for whatever reason at that time in your life, this painting is not getting the response you thought it would. You just That's like a variable. You take in that information and you go, okay, well, I'm going to go for it anyway. I'm going to make it work, or I'm going to change something. But my point in that rant and rambling is that if you can actually generate a response from people where they laugh at your work off the top, and then you're onto something. Try it again. Try it again. Because I think the hardest thing is when you show something to the world, which I have a lot of experience at, and you just get like very little response, very little engagement, very little feedback. That's kind of the worst part. It's almost better to have someone say, "That's the worst, man," because at least you get some sort of like feedback. If you only hear "that's the worst" over and over again, that's also not good. But look, okay, back to the boat. You see, add, subtract. We're subtracting from that lump of. Obviously, this is the most simplified image I could choose, but it's the perfect example of what I'm blabbing about this entire time. Adding and subtracting. Now it looks like an umbrella, but at least we got some shape. At least you kind of know what's like, okay, is that a picture? Yeah, it's a picture. Like, at least you have a starting point, and then now we're past the starting point now. This is my example of what I'm chirping about all the time. I guess a surrealist, yeah, like a candy store, pop art, realist, surrealist. I've never found like actually I was doing some lives. I wish I might be able to find them actually. There was one person that came in and was giving me some really good advice on how to describe my art, and it was fresh and it was new and it was like explosive cartoon realism, like, so sometimes there's better ways to describe it than, but I like to paint like realistic stuff too. I get in moods. So it's the same principle. This hand is not, anywhere realistic, but there's a foundation there. So you kind of like, it's probably not, it might even actually, let me see. Like, I think it might even be like wrong, but it's the same idea as the boat. You get the boat in by adding and subtracting. You saw the lump of mess that it was 5 minutes ago. It was there was hardly any representation. There was hardly any understanding. But, and obviously, it's the most simplified kind of image I could show you. But it's the same idea for the skull, the helmet, the body. You go back and forth. And now I'm just in this phase of building the bones of the painting. And I'm doing that in acrylic for those that didn't hear me earlier. This is an acrylic base for my underbody, so that I can, now that's, the couch last painting gave me a bit of a headache. I don't, I actually don't like painting the couch. It's not, and I actually don't have a good solution for last time. I'm looking at the couch now that I did from yesterday or the last couple weeks, last week. It's fine. It's good. It's a couch, so that's good. But I'm wondering if it should just really stay cartoony, or it should be kind of like realistic. I think Francis Bacon was called the portrait courier. Yeah, Link Watson, you can DM me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you're doing. Is this real? Am I see this live? Yes. Brian B. Brian B. Seeing this live was awesome. Your art is incredible. One of the cheers, man. Appreciate you. Would you say I'm a surrealist? Yes. Overall, yes. And if you listen to Dolly talking about, like, Dolly would really says it really wisely. Like, he knew that there's artists that are way better than him, but he banked on his mind. Dolly banked on his mind. That's where I like to spend my bank. I really I get excited about my ideas. I am admittedly a fan of my ideas, even if they don't land. But that's just where, like, if you pit me against like these hyper realistic photographic painters, their skills are almost unmatched. Like, it's just I'm not aiming for that. I'm trying to go for what Dolly was expressing. Like, hey, I'm banking on my mind and my creative ideas, and then I try to execute them as best as I can. And over the years, I can get better and better and better. I was thinking about some of the earlier paintings I did, where the ideas were strong, in my opinion. The ideas were really strong, but the execution was a little, lackluster. So then you spend years at refining your craft and, like, okay, how can I make my ideas better? How can I make my ideas easier to digest, easier to understand, and more crafted at a higher level and executed at a higher level? Because then I can get my ideas across better, and people will go, wow, what a wild concept. And it's done really well. That's the goal. Too orange. But no one, the band Tropical Foxstorm from Oz reminded me of your painting, explosive cartoon absurdity. I'm not Oz like the show. No, when you're old like me, you mean Oz like the jail show? Cartoonish with a hint of realism, yeah. No, in Australia. Oh, I see. So yeah, you're not old like me. Does anyone know the show Oz? Oz was like one of the first shows that were like a series that weren't was like, oh, you can have a TV show that's like rated R. That was kind of like, I'm sure there were others, but that was what I remember growing up, where I think it was an HBO too. Oz was like a jail show that was like really aggressive and really well done, and a lot of people, like recognizable faces that you'd know. Okay, you know Oz, yeah. So it's not that. I was worried that I'm like, oh man, is Oz so old no one even knows about it anymore? But remember when Oz came out, like, oh my God, you can have like a TV show. Like before, okay, for the conversation's sake, I might be wrong on this as far as, but you would have TV shows and it would be like Full House or like you would never in a million years imagine like a TV show could actually be like restricted. Oz from my based on my not just memory, but like I don't think I remember seeing. Oh my God, you can have a TV show that's like a movie. Like it was like that was like Grant. That was the, and of course it was really good too. It was really strong. It was a strong show. And then all the shows after that came. Kind of Oz was the breakthrough though. But maybe there were others, right? Like was Oz the first one that was like? It's up there. It's got to be one of the first ones anyway. Because on main, like besides like on main cable, the shows all had to be like, censored. Like they weren't. There was never a show that you could be. They might give you a warning, but it was still not like Oz. Let's cover this. Okay, so what's going to happen now is It's going to be time to eat lunch. I want this to be ready to go on oil. We'll make this a little smaller. Maybe too small. Maybe this needs to come down. I'm okay if this looks disproportionate. I want it to be. I want it to be larger than life, like a headdress, metal tiki. I want that. Oh, that hand already. That's better. The sailboat. Now we're adding. So we went from adding, subtracting, adding, subtracting. Again, because it's such the most simplified, it's almost like a stick figure boat. You don't have to think so much, so it gives you like this flow in your brush. Same with here. It's like we don't even have a layout of the face yet. We don't have the actual shape of the body, but we have like, it's kind of implied. The hands are important because they take a bit of work. Like if you really want to land, like that's a hand holding a skull, it'll take a bit of back and forth. No pressure, no, there's some aggression to like crush things in there, like ram them in. But it's not like pressure, like the painting hinges on anything. Like, oh God, can't really wreck anything. This is just not taking yet. I need this to take because I want it to dry, and then I give it a sanding, and then I attack the painting in oil for the most part, I think. I think that'll happen today. Apologies if you saw this already, but the figure could be holding up the sailboat, maybe. I sent the photos to you. Okay, I'll check it out later. Link. No one, what do you mean? Like holding up the sailboat? So instead, no one, before I go, I'm going to leave. So you're saying instead of holding a skull, holding the sailboat? Is that what you're saying? And if so, then what would go in the painting? A skull? Tell me right now. I may do it. Yes. So you're saying swap out the skull. Yeah, I'll go back on live later. I don't know when. I can't commit to like a system yet. Maybe in the future. But am trying to do lives more regularly. I did some yesterday. But no one. And delete the sailboat, like no photo, no painting. I need the painting. So here's where I disagree with you. The Macbeth angle, this doesn't mean your idea is not good. You made me think, and I really appreciate it. But I want this to be this Hamlet Shakespearean god. This is a god, and this god is infiltrating the Simpsons like it's kind of apocalyptic, worshiping ceremony happening. So that's why the skull is in there. The sailboat is to give you reference that this is the Simpsons universe. We're all familiar with the infamous painting. And no sailboat. Oh, I see. So you take, so I'm still going to, I actually really like that idea. You might think I don't because I'm not going to do it. That's not true. No one, that's not true. Hear me out and tell me if I can convince you. So you have this god that's creating a seance. That's the word I was looking for. This is a seance taking place. And it's this god from another world, you know, probably somewhere in the Transformer world, that is it has this Hamlet Shakespearean like seance that's taking place, and maybe there's like a glow around the skull, and this is just fodder. This is just, again, to give you like the understanding of the entire painting. This, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. So if I put the sailboat there, I'm just thinking about it conceptually. This is how my mind works on the deepest level, by the way. If I put the sailboat here and take it out of there, I'm playing in the world of the Simpsons. Like it's for me, it's leaning in too hard, which you would say, well, you're already leaning in too hard. Yes, fine. But that's why, okay, but now I want to add in the Shakespeare element mixed with this Venus de Willendorf god that's wearing an Optimus Prime helmet. I don't want to then go back to the Simpsons. I want to keep going out like a rocket just shooting out into the sky. And you're seeing more and more like conflicted overlap. I would even change this to something else, but the skull is part of the ceremony. No one, I can't. The skull is required for the seance. I can't take it out. Without the skull, there's no way to correspond with the demons and the ghosts. The skull is like, it might even now, like maybe we have to do something to the skull. Maybe it has like it's not a recognized, it's definitely right. It's the most iconic imagery in art is like a skull, right? It's like life and death. It's the human experience. It's the finality. But it's also then used and abused, like I said, in like some sort of witchcraft. It's used as like some sort of symbolic way to the afterlife. This is like the to be or not to be, right? Holding it up and worshiping it and using its powers. But the idea is strong that if I remove this sailboat, just so you hear me, and I really like you made me think, but you just made my position a little stronger for my own in my own brain. If you took this out, the sailboat, and put it here, I think that is very comical, and I think it's interesting. I think it's a very fascinating angle to put on it. Like it's very intertwined and very. It's a strong move. So you made me think for a while, and as I was contemplating it, I gave you my best argument why it's not happening, and you might disagree. You know, yeah, I think you should have took this sailboat out. But when I was painting yesterday and I found this image of this worshiping process, this seance, I wanted an orange skull, and I'm going to stick with that. But no one, were you the one that yesterday gave me the remote? I forget. Did you give me the remote idea yesterday? No one? Yeah, okay, so then you win. I got the remote here. This is for you, and then I'm leaving. There's the remote. So why I'm showing you that is because you're, oh shit, and look, I just put fucking paint on it. Oh God, oh God. So your suggestions, actually, I'm not feeding you her shit. They mean a lot, and I wanted to show you that. So just because I'm not going with you on the sailboat this time, doesn't mean anything at all. So please keep your suggestions flowing. But I'm out. See you guys. Bye. Toodles. Ooh.